Hi, I'm Doug from Dynamic Computing and welcome to episode 117 of 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast. This week we're revisiting one of our old friends, the RGB to HDMI de-interlacing solution for our ECS and OCS Amigas. Now, this time though, I'm going to be installing one on my Amiga 600. I did a few episodes on my Amiga 600 a few months back. I'll link to them right here. This was one of Tim Drew's, or aka Sanction's, Amiga 600s, and he sold this to me back a few months ago. I've upgraded it, done some videos on it. Fun stuff, love it. It almost rounds out my collection. Now all I really want is a CD TV and a CD32 to round out the whole collection. Gotta catch them all. Now my Amiga 600 has been displaying pretty nicely with my SCART to HDMI solution. You see one of these right here. We've all used, most of us have used one of these in the past, and they do a good job. Fine for games, okay for Workbench. They even have this pseudo de-interlacing thing where if you open up an interlaced screen, it looks rock solid till you move something or move a window. Then you can see just a little bit of shimmer or shake. But they're not bad. They're really not bad at all, and they're dirt cheap. But of course, I want something even better, because that's just who I am. If you've watched my previous videos on the RGB to HDMI solutions, you'll know I really like them. I'm especially fond of the one in my Amiga 1000. Hi, Amiga 1000 sitting over there. That is using the board designed by Linux Jedi. Here's a link to that show right there. Absolutely rock solid displays. The only complaint that I really have about these is that switching between NTSC and PAL modes, because you know most of our Amigas that have OS 3.0 or higher, you hold down two mouse buttons on boot up, you can switch between NTSC and PAL. I just have horrible luck with it. When I have one of these in one of my machines and I try to switch to PAL mode, it just doesn't work properly. Well, my Amiga 600 is 100% PAL, as are most Amiga 600s, quite honestly. They did release them over here in the United States, but those of us over here in the USA, we were buying Amiga 3000s at that time, and we were just laughing at your little Amiga 600. Look, it's a little toy. It's a cute little toy. And we were just cranking away on our Amiga 3000s. Just what we did. So the issue is that the Denise chips on the Amiga 500, 1000, and 2000 are all the rectangular dip packaging, and those pop nicely on top of an RGB to HDMI adapter, as you've seen in my videos. But our beautiful little Amiga 600, which we're going to pop open here in a second, it's got a soldered on little square Denise chip, totally different structure. Now, there have been some people who have taken a standard RGB to HDMI adapter and then bodge wired everything together, grabbing the signals, but that's not pretty, and I like pretty. And those bodge wire solutions, that's going to require some soldering onto the actual Amiga 600. And as you guys learned from my Amiga 500 Adventures video a few weeks back, soldering irons, Douglas, and Amigas, we don't get along. You know what I'm talking about, Frank from Retro Rewind. Now, our good friend Jan Beta a couple of months ago showed us a really elegant solution for this. I'll link to his video in the description. This clever adapter was designed by Joachim Firnhaber, and he's released the designs open source on GitHub. So you can go to his GitHub, download all the designs, order the parts. He's got a bill of materials. Build one of these yourself. He very rarely builds them for sale, but you can reach out to him. Maybe he'll have one or two he can sell you. I'd really love for someone to jump on this particular product and sell it as a completed kit, and then just toss Joachim a couple of bucks, you know, 10 bucks, 15 bucks, whatever, for every one sold for all of his hard work in creating the designs. But now, let's take a look at what the little guy looks like. We'll use my cute little Amiga 600 as a backdrop. Here's what the interface looks like. First of all, we have this little adapter here that clips right on top of the Denise chip, which I'll show you in a second. And then it has a nice cable that comes right up to the actual interface that the Pi 0 plugs into. Of course, it requires a Pi 0 to run. They're not particularly easy to find, but you can still get them. And then we have a little header here for a button. The button normally is not included, but you can add one if you want. I like it because I like to change a few of the settings in there. Then your Pi 0 right here connects up with this cable to an HDMI interface that plugs into the board. This is so cool where this goes. Let's open her up and we'll take a closer look. What a lovely jumble of wires inside my Amiga 600. Most of these are going to my GoTech up here into my little custom display that I'll talk about maybe a little later. But here, this is our Denise chip right here. So you can see it's in a totally different package than the normal dip chips. So how does this work? Well, we very gingerly and tenderly take our beautiful new little product right here, set her down on the Denise chip, just like so, and clip it into place. You want to make sure it's nice and firm and tight and not lifted up at all. Not lifted up on any of the edges, because if it is, it's not going to work. Okay? So that's nice and tight. See how nice and flush that is? Now you may also notice there's a little copper thing right in the center. That is a Pi 0 heatsink that I just put in here for fun, because the Denise does actually get a little toasty warm. I put one here too. And it fits just perfectly in the little ventilation hole there. So it's able to kick off just a little bit of heat. Now, our little beautiful board that's going to hold our Pi 0 is right here. We'll see what to do with that in just a second. Now, we take our Pi 0, which is right here. Beautiful little thing. I already have my SD card in there. Plug in the included HDMI cable right here. And then this is a little HDMI cable going out the back. Now, where does this mount to? Well, see those two screws there? Those are going to be important. Where this goes is right where our modulator, our RF modulator that we used to have in here goes. See how that fits just nicely? And those two little screws go right here and here. You just take the motherboard out and you screw that in, and it fits just perfectly and gives you an HDMI cable poking out the back, which is awesome. Now, you do have to remove your RF modulator. I had mine removed when I had it recapped by my good friend Frank at RetroRewind.ca, who does recapping and repair services. But you can remove this yourself, and that just requires some desoldering underneath the motherboard here. Now, why don't I have mine permanently attached? Well, because I take this thing apart and put it back together 5,000 times, and I just have not permanently attached it on here yet. So our Pi 0 plugs right into the GPIO header right here. Marvelous. Now, where does this go? Where does this fit in here? Well, what you do is you take some double-sided tape. Some of the models include it, in the bill of materials, but you take a little double-sided tape, put it right here, and then this little bugger just sits right here, and believe it or not, the case will still close perfectly with this mounted right here. It's so cool. Now, for this demonstration, I'm putting mine on the outside of the machine because I'm going to be in and out here a little bit. So now we have the Pi 0 and the RGB to HDMI physically clipped into the Amiga 600. Presently, it's just hanging out the back because, like I said, I take it on and take it off several times during my presentation here, so I didn't want to permanently attach it quite yet. But let's go ahead and turn this on and see what happens. We're going to zoom in on the screen and take a peek. And look at this lovely rock solid display that the RGB to HDMI gives us. This thing is just absolutely flicker free. This is 640 by 256, so it's normally non-interlaced, but none of the little jumpy pixels that some of the older RGB to HDMI units gave us. absolutely rock solid, beautiful display. You need to have the RGB to HDMI software on an SD card plugged into your Pi Zero. I go over all of that in my previous RGB to HDMI video, so I'm not going to cover it here, but I will have links in the description where you download the software, put it on a teeny tiny micro SD card. It's like 20 megabytes, 30 megabytes, so it'll fit on any tiny card, and it just boots up into this. Now, 9 times out of 10, you don't need to make any changes to this, but we're going to do that anyways. But first, let's take a look what a nice interlaced screen would look like. We're going to open her up here, go to screen modes. This is Amiga OS 3.2, by the way, running on my Amiga 600. Now this one is kind of cool. We're in 68,000 mode right now. We're literally just using the 68,000. I have a 2 megabyte PCMCIA SRAM card. I've got my 2 megs of chip RAM here, and I have about 800K of fast RAM free, and it works okay like that. Now you see we're in full 640 by 512 mode right now, not a drop of flicker. Let's try one of our other popular programs here. Badoom, badoom. D-Paint. Everybody knows D-Paint. We're going to go high res in 16 color PAL mode. And boom, up she comes, rock solid. Now here we've loaded in a nice 320 by 256 animation. Let's see how she plays. See, that handles it just fine. This beautiful RGB to HDMI handles the colors beautifully and handles the animation beautifully. Now, one interesting thing is the ability to change your overscan preferences. On the Amiga, of course, we can just go into overscan mode. La-di-da-da-di-da. And when we go to edit it, see, we can only do 688 by 270. We literally can't go any further because of how the RGB to HDMI is set up. But we can fix this, and this is how we do it. You want to, at least for a while, put one of these little buttons on the machine. Now I'm hitting the little button on mine that calls up the information screen here, and we can go down to geometry, and we can change this. And see how I'm changing this up to 744, 752. See how that's widening the screen there on the left-hand side. Now we can see that we can drag this out a little bit more. Now there is, of course, a limit. We're going to go to 768 here, and we're going to increase the vertical height a little bit here. Let's go up to 286, 288. That looks good. Now that might be a little high here. Now we'll exit out of here. Now using a single button on the RGB to HDMI is not always the easiest thing in the world. And we go to save configuration, press the button here. Now we can get out of here with return. Now I can adjust my overscan even more. So pull it out there, 724 by 283. Much, much better overscan. So this is the main reason I really need to use the buttons, is so I can adjust the overscan, make it even larger. Now let's check out a couple of games. Here's the awesome Worthy. If you have not purchased Worthy for your Amiga yet, there'll be a link in the description for it. It is one of the best games of, what is it, 2018 I think it was? Oh my goodness, what a fantastic Amiga game. But let's see how nice it looks on an RGB to HDMI and see if we experience any lag. And nope, this appears to be totally and completely lag-free, being displayed on a nice DVI port on my monitor here. Absolutely perfectly. Whee! Now let's take a look at a little bit of Miss Pac-Man here. This looks absolutely beautiful, bright colors on here. I hope the video captures it okay. Of course, I'm capturing a direct screenshot because I want you to see how it looks on the screen here instead of just capturing it to one of my capture devices. But you can see there's no lag. Now, I showed this on the Amiga the other week, and you remember the virtual Paula had such a hard time keeping up with the audio. And of course, on a 68,000 based Amiga 600, absolutely flawless, not a single second of dropped audio. Run, Miss Pac-Man, run! Well, I wasn't sure if I was going to get that one. So now we've proved that Joachim's RGB to HDMI works flawlessly on a stock Amiga 600. But who wants a stock Amiga 600? Not me. I want more power. Unlimited power. That was my Palpatine impression. Sorry. Now, I own the lovely Furia, which is a 68020 running around 33 megahertz. About 11 megabytes of RAM on here, floating point unit. These are fantastic cards that plug right into the 68,000 CPU socket and speed up the Amiga 600 beautifully. Now, I got that from my good friends at amigastore.eu. Here's a link right down here. I really like the Furia when it works. These things are notoriously fussy, notoriously, with their OS choices, with their compact flash or SD to CF choices. Out of 8 different cards that I tried, all of them in theory should be compatible. They're fast enough. 2 actually work. 2 out of 8. They're just fussy little beasts. But once they work pretty well. Now, I don't know if that problem is solvable or if it's just the fact that the Amiga 600 is a cheap and cheerful little Commodore product and the timing just doesn't work all the time. Poof. Now, when I got my A600 RGB to HDMI adapter from Joachim, plugged it in with just the 68,000, flawless. I could do anything I wanted to, work all day long, perfect, rock solid screen, beautiful. I would plug in my Furia, which fits, and we'll show you that in a second. Plug in the Furia, it'd lock up between 1 minute and 3 minutes. Boom, hard lock, system had to be rebooted, and there's nothing I could do. I tried everything to get this to work. New power supply from Steve Clifford at retropassion.co.uk. Didn't help a bit, although it's a great power supply. I recommend one if you need one. I tried all the different Furia tune settings, you know, turning off the ROM, everything like that. No, it just locked up every time it was in there. Now, Joachim was kind enough to send me a new version, a slightly newer version of the RGB to HDMI. I just got it about a week and a half ago. It's the red one in there. This one actually works with my Furia. Plug it in, the Furia will come up, and it will work as long as I don't use any map ROM functions. Shadow ROM, locks it up. Map a 3.2.1 ROM from a file into the memory of the Furia, locks it up between 30 seconds and 3 minutes, hard lock. But if I don't map the ROM, it seems to work pretty well. I still get the occasional lockup, but it works pretty well. I'm pretty impressed with it. Turning off the map ROM function sounds like it might not be so bad, but what happens is you turn off the map ROM, you automatically lose a fair amount of speed because now it's accessing the kickstart 16 bits instead of 32 bits, which is quite a difference. And your hard drive performance from your onboard compact flash card drops from about 1.9 megabytes per second down to 700 kilobytes per second. And believe me, that is noticeable. So, let's take a look at how she fits in though and try it out. Let's open up the old girl again. This is why I don't permanently mount anything in here as of yet, is because I'm always inside tinkering. Never ends. So you remember our beautiful little RGB to HDMI fits in right here, and our Furia will actually fit right over it, and it does not interfere with it at all. Give this a good old solid push. Make sure that's in all the way. Perfect. Now I'm going to take out my 2 megabyte SRAM card. That's not going to work anyways because the system already has plenty of memory now. And let's get this little thing started. Hey look, there's Doug in the reflection of the monitor. Hi Doug! So we're starting up. It's showing us the interface screen for the RGB to HDMI, and it boots a cajillion times faster with the Furia in here. So she boots right up, and with the Furia in here, I'm able to use the additional 1.5 megabytes of Ranger memory that gets it up to about 11 megabytes of fast RAM, gets us up to about 10.5 megabytes of fast RAM, and 2 megabytes of chip RAM. And see, it works just fine. Now I'm able to launch things like Art Department Professional, which I certainly couldn't do on a 68,000 base machine with a total of 4 megabytes of RAM. That's not going to work. We'll just load up a nice JPEG image in here. And with the 6820 running at about 33 megahertz, it actually performs reasonably well. This is definitely faster than an Amiga 1200 at only 14 megahertz. Absolutely 2 to 3 times faster than that. And let's take a look at our little screen here. Yep, renders it fairly quickly, all things considered. Who do we have here? Ooh, Soroman with his Palantir viewing an Amiga 600. This is one of my little edits I did. I had fun with this one. Perfectly rock solid, works great. So obviously I want to continue using my Furia so I can use all my cool and powerful programs and not just be limited to some of the basic things that a 68,000 machine can run. So my original RGB to HDMI that I got from Joachim worked with the 68,000, didn't work with the Furia. I don't know. Was it my Amiga 600? Was it my Furia? I have no idea. I have some theories that because this is a European Amiga 600, which works fine over here, obviously, Cookie says it works fine. But maybe there's some just subtle timing differences with our electricity and the electricity over in Europe that just throws it off once you start speeding these things up. I don't know. I mean, I know these Amiga 600s are built cheaply. What I'm going to do, though, is send my original RGB to HDMI, which, again, works fine, just not with an accelerator. I'm going to send that over to my buddy Chris Edwards over in the East Coast. He's going to take a look at his Amiga 600, and maybe we'll be able to determine if it's a problem with that particular generation of RGB to HDMI, or if it's a problem with my equipment. We'll see, but he'll get a brand new RGB to HDMI out of it. So I'm weighing my options here. I really like the fast Furia with the MapROM options, and I don't hate the SCART to HDMI. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Do I go back to SCART to HDMI in order to have a faster Amiga 600, or do I live with a little slower Amiga 600 and keep the RGB to HDMI? What do you think, Cookie? Which way should I go? She doesn't have much of an opinion. Then again, I really don't need the performance out of this. I'm going to use this for playing video games on PAL machine. It's my only PAL machine. I'm going to use it for playing some PAL video games on. Big whoop. I don't need the incredible performance. And literally, like 12 inches away from this, I got my 060 based Amiga 4000. If I want performance and 128 megs of RAM and a fast hard drive, I'll hit the power button and turn that on. I'm fine. They use the same monitor even. My final opinions, this thing is absolutely awesome. I love the design. I love the form factor. The fact that you can still fit in a Vampire or a Furia right on top of it. The display quality is as good as the adapter in my Amiga 1000 when it's up and running. It's flawless. The images capture great. Once you have HDMI coming out of your Amiga, you hook them up to any kind of VGA, or you hook them up to any kind of HDMI capture device. Captures beautifully, great for streaming. Now, I'm not a DIY soldering guy, right, Frank? You know that, Frank, right? So I would love it if somebody built these and sold these and sent Joachim a couple of bucks for each one he sold. It's just so much easier. It goes back to one of my theories is, I love open source. Open source is great. Hey, build it yourself. But what that does is that means 10% of the people who want it have the skills to build this stuff themselves. The rest of us don't have the equipment or the talents to do it. That leaves 90% of the people going, boy, that's really a cool device. I'm never going to put one of those together in a million years. So we find a nice manufacturer who wants to put some of these together and sell them, send Joachim a couple of bucks, everybody's happy. Now, on a little different topic. Remember in December when Frank from Retro Rewind, I sure do mention his name a lot, had this little friendly competition with our friends at Chris Edwards and Amigos and Pixel Guy Den and Sprite Castle, and we all had these codes for his website. Saved 10%. The person who had their viewers use their code the most, the monetary, wins the little contest. And every penny that was saved of those 10% then was donated by Frank to the Daily Bread charity in Canada. It's a food charity. Well, they determined a winner. And the winner was me. Did you ever have any doubts? No, I'm far too humble. So thank you to all my viewers who went over to Frank's shop and used my code and put us over the edge. And I even threw in an extra 50 bucks myself just out of my own pocket to help the charity out. I thought that was great. Now, what this means is that Frank is giving us two $50 gift certificates. And these are going to be given away to a lucky viewer or a lucky friend on Twitter or Facebook, whatnot. And what I want you guys to do is send me a picture of your Amiga get-up. Now, I'm not going to be judging these based on how it appears, so you can have the ugliest Amiga in the world. I don't care. You can have the most beautiful in the world. I don't care. But we're going to do that as the submission. You send me a picture of your Amiga setup that you use in your home. Even if it's a virtual Amiga, that's fine. Send it to my email address. Send it to art@amigaartwork.com. I'll have that down here. I'll also have it in the description. Also, send it to me on Facebook. Send it to me on Twitter. Send it to me on Instagram. And for all of them I get, I'll put them together and then share the pictures with everybody. And then we're going to randomly choose two of you to win the $50 gift certificates from Frank. Awesome. Huge thanks to my wonderful patrons, especially my new patrons, the fine folks at Amy West. You guys know them. And what is this oh so lovely image that their names are scrolling over? This is the new image created by Kevin Saunders for the Amiga Artwork Facebook page. I think you might recognize many, if not all, of the images he included. Links to the Facebook group are in the description, and we would love to have you join us, and thank you to all my wonderful patrons. Thanks for stopping by today. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. I love new subscribers, and all those likes just help promote the channel even more, get us more out there. I would very much love to hear your comments, especially on the Furia. Let me know how your Furia works, what kind of quirks you're having with it. I just love to get to the bottom of why these cards are flaky? Finicky? I don't know what word to use. Let me know about your experiences with RGB to HDMI. But until next time, this is Doug and Cookie from 10 Minute Amiga Retrocast, signing out.